Venezuelan opposition lead Juan Guaidó has discarded and proposed of negotiations of CEO Nicolas Maduro among and continuing force fight among the couple. Mr. Guaidó proclaimed oneself operating CEO on environment, a stance how has been recognized by several countries, consisting the U.S. But Mr. Maduro named the GuaidÃ³ affecting by the U.S. and cut off tactful bonds in answer. A UN Safety Justice meet on the meltdown is due to be detained on Saturday. Meantime, U.S. Secretariat of Country Mike Pompeo has equipped a VetX briefcase as his messenger to transactions in the meltdown in Venezuela. He told Elliott Abrams would be accountable for all U.S. efforts to recover democratic state in Venezuela. Mr. Abrams is a visible neoconservative who has length reasoned for in militant overseas politics to distribution us values about the planet. He served as U.S. Aid Secretariat of Country for Inter-American Sphere in the 1980s by CEO Ronald Reagan. CEO Maduro began a other period over the monthly following polls spoiled by an opposition boycott and voice-rigging claims. The world society is break on if to recognize his by the government. On Friday, he told he was prepared to say to his competing, but Mr. Guaidó told he discarded counterfeit dialogue and once again told he would believe offer him pardon. Mr. Maduro has so far held the supporting of the nation's war, but Mr. Guaidó has requested them to place themselves on the party of the Venezuelan human beings and behind him instead of. He has as well named for main demonstrations needing Mr. Maduro's retire to be detained following 1 week. Venezuela is in economical meltdown, hyperinflationary and shortages of main essential has hit its people difficult and inflicted millions to run. Mr. Maduro has floored domestic opposition and continuing world critique for his humane rights recording and processing of the economics. Mr. Guaidó, who is lead of Venezuela's selected domestic convention, told on environment how the nation's basic law allows him to get force since Mr. Maduro's chairmanship is illegal. He has pledged to conduct a transition by the government and conduct complementary elections. The U.S., more than rather than a half a dozen Roman-US countries, Canada and the UK include supported Mr. Guaidó following he told he was the legal CEO. But Russia has convicted overseas supporting for Mr. Guaidó, proverb it violates world law and is a straight way to bloodbath. On Friday, Ruski Overseas Secretary Sergei Lavrov denounced U.S. politics in the direction Mr. Maduro as devastating. China, Mexico and Turkey include as well openly supported Mr. Maduro.